I think couples therapy is a little BS, and I think it shouldn't be called couples therapy. It should be called something else. And then people, myself, and everyone would more accurately kind of understand what needs to happen when you seek help as a couple. Because therapy is not the right answer for a couple. It just doesn't make sense. It's a stupid word. Where did the word therapy come from? It comes from individual therapy. So, yeah, it makes sense. Individual therapy makes a ton of sense, where you can go to a therapist, a psychologist, all kinds of therapists, counselors, and they will provide counseling and therapy. And they'll help you basically learn about your mind, learn about where the wounds are, and start healing some of those wounds. But that's for an individual mind. Somehow we use that word for couple therapy, for couples related kind of help and counseling. But therapy is just not the right word. Therapy is not the right word for that. And I'll tell you why. What you need for a couple doesn't need therapy. In fact, it's not even possible to provide therapy to a couple because a couple is made of two people, not one person. You can't really provide therapy to an entity of two people. You can individually provide therapy to the individual people in the relationship. You could provide therapy individually to any group of people, people in a team, people in any organization. But therapy is always individual. It just is that way. Individual, and that's it. It can't be anything else. That's the whole point of therapy. And so when we're saying, oh, we're doing couples therapy, like a lot of people like to say, what does that mean? How could that be? Given that you're not a single entity, how could it be possible for therapy to be done onto you? It's not. What instead is happening, and what the right terminology would be, is more akin to something like coaching, couples coaching. Couples counseling is better, but I like coaching quite a bit more. I like it quite a bit more because I think that word is exactly what it exactly expresses what needs to happen when a couple goes into a quote unquote therapy or counseling or coaching session. When somebody goes in and seeks help as a couple, a group, a man and woman, two men, two women, whatever, somebody's coming in and they're seeking help. What they need is coaching. What they need is guidance. What they need is advice, but a specific kind of advice. Not necessarily the kind of advice that a therapist would provide to a client exploring their own mind and their own suffering, their own pain, their own biases, things that they don't see, things that they do see but that they're lying to themselves about, things that they know about but they're freaked out to acknowledge and deal with. There's a lot of things that a person can um, do in a therapy setting, and therapy can be useful. But again, as I said before, it's simply a individual process. It's not possible for a couple to do therapy because a couple is made of two people. How there's no unified brain. There's two brains. So what you need is to separate the couple, separate them, and then do therapy on one and therapy on the other. And then each person will improve their lives. They'll heal. They'll move towards paths that are better, that are more beneficial and more appropriate for them in their lives, and that will enable them to be better partners, better friends, better lovers, better people. That's what's needed. So individual therapy plus couples coaching. Couples coaching. You would never take a basketball coach and say he's a basketball therapist, or a tennis coach and say that tennis coach is a tennis therapist or a tennis counselor, would you? Would you take any leader, any organizer, any coach, even a corporate coach, and say he's a therapist? He's a team therapist? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't say he's a softball therapist. Would you? A softball counselor? No. You say that's the softball coach. That's the coach because he's coaching. What he's doing is coaching a group of people on how to be together, how to interact together, and how to achieve a common aim, a common purpose. Now, the common aims and purposes for a team are quite different than the broad, wild, and amazing aims that a couple can have. The aims that a couple can have are just profound aims, profound possibilities, right? And so sometimes you need a coach to be able to realize those profound and amazing possibilities. But it's a coach. What you're doing is getting a coach. That's what it is, and that's how we should start thinking about that. I really want society to start thinking about couples counseling and couples help more as coaching, because the word matters, and let me tell you why it matters. As I said, therapy is not possible, right? It's not possible on a person. How could you, not possible on a team, on a group, more than one person? How could you do therapy on more than one mind? Therapy is for one mind. Coaching, on the other hand, is helping the couple achieve their common goals, achieve their common ends. And they're there to achieve those ends after all. That's why they're seeking help. So when you're saying I'm a couples coach or I'm a couples counselor, but I really like the idea of a couples coach, what you're doing is you're coaching a team of two people who want to be together, who kind of are seeking help to be a better team. And you're guiding them. And what's useful for a coach, right? A basketball coach, a softball coach, a tennis coach, a team coach, a non-competitive sports coach, a chess coach, any coach, is to have experience, to have true life experience, sort of in the sphere that they're coaching. So a basketball coach who doesn't know anything about basketball is going to be a terrible basketball coach. In the same way, a relationship coach who's 25 and just finished like some like marriage and family therapy program, has never been in a serious relationship, or has been in one but doesn't know what it means to be in a deep, long-term, lasting relationship, or has been in some relationships but doesn't know what it feels like when the initial honeymoon, like pleasant feeling phases are over of a relationship, and when things get a little more difficult, and when you have to actually live life, when everyone's working and things are tough and you're grinding life out. How are you gonna be with the partner when it's not all easy and not all pleasant, not all nice? You don't want the 25-year-old, right, for a couples coach. You want the 50-year-old, the 60-year-old wise person who's seen a lot and who knows this is important, who knows how to apply what they've seen appropriately to be able to coach you. That's a very hard task to do, and most people suck at it. Most people can't coach. They can't be good leaders. They can't be good. They're just not able to. Not just by who they are, but just because they've never tried to develop these skills. But most people don't have good coaching skills. They have other social skills, but a coaching skill is a unique, kind of a unique skill that is not doesn't come naturally. It's something that you have to develop within yourself, and something that takes both a lot of love, a lot of understanding, a lot of compassion, but also quite a bit of energy to do it well. It takes quite a bit of internal energy to be able to do it well, and it could be quite exhausting to be an excellent coach, I think. But what do I know? But so if Jill and Jane, when they go see their couples therapist, if they don't call that person a therapist anymore, but it's called a couples coach, and we're like, in a different world, let's say, where they're now, instead of just looking at Yelp reviews to see like who they like or whatever kind of approach they'll take to decide who to go to now, once it's called the couples coach, once like we think from that perspective now, when they're looking at Yelp, they're going to be kind of now approaching it more from a different perspective, the kind of perspective where you're saying, okay, I'm hiring a coach now. What am I doing? What am I doing here? I'm hiring a coach. So what do I want in the coach? Do I want a 20-year-old coach, or do I want somebody older? If somebody's coaching me on a relationship, do I want the coach to have been in a relationship or not? Do I want them to have been in many or not? Do I care if they've been in long-term relationships or not? Do I care about what kind of education they have? Yeah, I probably do. But I also care about what kind of coach they are. And that adds a lot to the mix. It adds a lot to the mix once you start thinking of your couples counselor or therapist as a coach, as a relationship coach. And I argue that that's all that's possible. Every couples therapist is a couples coach, a wannabe couples coach in some cases, because some therapists are just not good coaches at all. Some therapists are just not good coaches at all, and they shouldn't be in that business, unfortunately. But uh, regardless, whether they are good or not, whether they think of themselves as a coach or they think of themselves as a therapist, when you're in a couples setting, when you have a couple in front of you who has problems, you you're basically trying to be a coach. That's what you're trying to do. You're coaching them on how to approach life together. And I'm not speaking about this just randomly. In my past relationships, in some of my past relationships, in some of my life's relationships, I'll put it that way. In some of the relationships I've had in my life, I've went to a couples therapist, okay? And on more than one occasion. And on both occasions, right, both, it was abundantly clear, just so clear, right on its face, that there was nothing that these people were going to be able to help us with. On both cases, after giving it really trying with the therapy couples coaching route, I realized that these are not coaches. They're in the coaching business. They're literally in the coaching business. It's like they have a sign that says I'm a coach outside, but when you walk in and you talk to them, you realize, oh wow, this person doesn't know they're a coach, but they're in the coaching business. That's tragic, isn't it? Think about all the people that are coming to them and suffering and that are continuing to suffer. That's kind of sad. So I tried couples coaching, couples counseling, couples therapy for some of my life's relationships, and they didn't go well. Um, they just didn't go well. And I very quickly realized that this person's not going to be a help to me, and that I need to be a coach for myself. So it's possible to take up that coaching mantle on your own. And both of you, right? Jill and Jane can both be coaches for their relationship. It's possible. It's not rocket science. Relationships aren't rocket science. They're complex, and some relationships are more complex than others. But in the essence of it, you have two people trying to live together and make a life together and approach this crazy chaotic world together, right? Together. They're both bringing a lot of baggage into the mix, both bringing a lot of stuff, a lot of insecurities, hopes, dreams, baggage, fears. But in the end, you're basically a team, and you need some good coaching, because not everyone knows how to be on that kind of team. It's not that easy. Sometimes you need some coaching, but sometimes you don't have good coaches and you have to be a coach yourself. Sometimes. Um, and hopefully you could be the good kind of coach. But sometimes I'm sure this is possible. I'm sure there are great couples coaches around the world. I'm sure there are couples therapists that are real coaches, couples counselors that understand that they're really a couples coach and that are actually coaching, that are actually engaged in the practice of coaching their clients, their customers, those that seek their help. They're coaching them on how to be better, how to be better members in relationships. Very important.